March 24, 1982. Lumpinee Boxing Stadium, Bangkok. What happened that night would never make it into any official record, yet those who witnessed it would carry the memory for the rest of their lives. This is the story of a match that shouldn't have happened, between Hong Kong's most fearless action star and Thailand's most mysterious fighter. The world knew Jackie Chan as the man who had just finished filming Dragon Lord, a movie where he pushed martial arts choreography to brutal new extremes. But what the world didn't know was what Jackie was searching for in the shadows of Bangkok's underground fight scene. And they certainly didn't know about Niran Songkram. Her name meant eternal warrior in Thai, and she had earned it. In the dimly lit back rooms of Bangkok's Muay Thai gyms, whispers spoke of a female fighter who had never lost, not once. Not to any man, woman, or champion who had dared to step into the ring with her. She fought with a precision that seemed almost supernatural, her strikes landing with the force of someone twice her size. But here's what made her truly terrifying. No one outside Thailand's inner fight circles even knew she existed. Jackie Chan arrived in Bangkok in early March 1982 with a singular obsession. The filming of Dragon Lord had awakened something in him, a hunger for authenticity that couldn't be satisfied by choreographed sequences, no matter how dangerous. He had broken his nose, cracked his skull, and shattered bones in pursuit of perfect action cinema. But it wasn't enough. He needed to understand real combat, not movie combat. He needed to feel what it meant to face an opponent who wasn't pulling their punches. His search led him through Bangkok's labyrinth of training camps and fight venues. He watched dozens of matches, studied techniques, spoke with trainers. Then, one night at a small gym in the Klong Toi district, he saw her. Niran Songkram was sparring with 3 male fighters in rotation, each one a ranked Muay Thai competitor. She was dismantling them methodically, one by one, with a combination of elbow strikes, knee attacks, and sweeps that left the men gasping and defeated on the canvas. Jackie approached her trainer after the session. "I want to learn from her," he said in broken Thai, supplemented with Cantonese and English. The trainer, a weathered man named Prasert, who had trained champions for 30 years, looked at the movie star with a mixture of amusement and concern. "You want to learn?" he asked. "Or you want to test yourself?" The question hung in the air between them. Jackie's silence was his answer. What happened next would become the subject of heated debates in Bangkok's fight community for years to come. Prasert agreed to arrange a private exhibition match, but under strict conditions: no cameras, no press, no official record. Only a select group of witnesses from the Muay Thai community would be allowed to attend. The date was set for March 24th at Lumpinee Stadium after hours, when the venue would be empty of its usual crowds. News of the match spread through Bangkok's underground network like electricity through water. A Hollywood action star versus the ghost champion of Thai boxing. Impossible to verify, impossible to ignore. By the evening of March 24th, more than 200 people had squeezed into Lumpinee Stadium seats, filling the space with a tension that felt almost physical. Niran entered the ring first. She was smaller than Jackie had expected, 5'4" to his 5'9", but she moved with an economy of motion that immediately commanded respect. She wore traditional Muay Thai shorts and a simple tank top, her hands wrapped in the ancient style. Her face betrayed nothing. No nervousness, no excitement, no acknowledgement of the crowd. She simply stood in her corner, breathing steadily, waiting. Jackie climbed through the ropes wearing shorts and a protective cup, his hands wrapped by Prasert himself. He had trained for 2 weeks specifically for this moment, learning the basics of Muay Thai defense, understanding the rules, conditioning his shins against the devastating low kicks he knew were coming. But as he looked across the ring at Niran, he felt something he hadn't experienced in years: genuine uncertainty about the outcome. The referee, a senior official from the World Muay Thai Council, called them to the center of the ring. The rules were explained in Thai and translated for Jackie, Traditional Muay Thai scoring, 5 3-minute rounds, no killing blows. The referee asked each fighter if they understood and consented. Both nodded. Then he stepped back, raised his hand, and brought it down sharply. The fight began. Niran didn't charge. She circled, her movements liquid and patient, watching Jackie with the focus of a surgeon examining a complex problem. Jackie moved too, his kung fu stance modified to account for the kicks he knew were coming. For the first minute, they simply studied each other, testing distance with quick jabs and feints. Then Niran struck. A low kick whistled toward Jackie's lead leg with terrifying speed. He checked it, the impact sending shockwaves up his shin despite the block. Before he could reset, she was already launching a second kick to his other leg, then a third. Jackie retreated, trying to find his rhythm. But Niran gave him no space to think. Her combinations were relentless: low kick, mid kick, teep to the body, push him back, control the center of the ring. Jackie's kung fu training had prepared him for many things, but not for this systematic assault on his legs. By the end of the first round, both his shins were already beginning to swell. He returned to his corner, where Prasert worked on his legs, while speaking rapidly in Thai, gestures filling the gaps in Jackie's understanding. Protect the legs, move laterally. Use angles, don't let her dictate distance. Round 2 began with Jackie implementing a new strategy. He started using more lateral movement, circling away from Niran's power side, trying to force her to reset her stance. It worked, briefly. He managed to land a combination of punches that snapped her head back. The first clean shots of the fight. The crowd erupted. But Niran's response was immediate and brutal. She swept his lead leg, and as Jackie stumbled, her shin connected with his ribs in a thunderous kick that could be heard in the back rows of the stadium. Jackie went down. Not knocked out, but hurt. Really hurt. He took the referee's count, using every second of the 8 count to breathe through the pain radiating from his ribcage. When he stood, Niran was already in her corner, calm as still water, waiting for the fight to resume. Something shifted in Jackie's mind at that moment. He had wanted authenticity, wanted to feel real combat. Well, now, he had it. The question was whether he had the courage to continue. He touched his gloves together, nodded to the referee, and advanced. The remainder of round 2 was a war of attrition. Jackie began mixing his kung fu fluidity with more orthodox boxing, keeping his hands higher, trying to time Niran's kicks with counters. He caught her with a spinning back fist that opened a small cut above her eye, the first time she had bled in years. The sight of blood seemed to activate something in both fighters. The pace increased. The exchanges became more frequent, more violent. By the bell, both were breathing hard, both marked with the evidence of the battle. Round 3. This was where legends were either made or destroyed in Muay Thai, and both fighters knew it. They came out with a new intensity, trading strikes and combinations that left the crowd roaring. Jackie landed a beautiful uppercut that lifted Niran off her feet for a split second. She answered with a clinch, pulling his head down and driving knees into his body with mechanical precision. One knee found its mark directly in his solar plexus. Jackie's legs buckled, but he didn't fall. Using some reserve of will that had carried him through 100 film stunts, he wrapped his arms around Niran's waist and held on, refusing to give her the space to launch another attack. The referee separated them. They reset, and incredibly, Jackie smiled. A real smile, despite the pain, despite the exhaustion. Because in that moment he understood something profound about combat that no amount of choreography could have taught him. Niran didn't smile back, but there was a change in her eyes, a flash of respect, perhaps even surprise. This Hollywood actor was tougher than she had expected, much tougher. Round 4 began with both fighters visibly fatigued. The speed of their earlier exchanges had given way to a more measured pace, but the danger remained. Each strike carried weight, each movement had purpose. Jackie started to find his range, using his superior hand speed to land punches and combinations before Niran could close the distance. But every time he pressed forward, she would respond with those devastating leg kicks, chopping away at his mobility, his foundation. Midway through the round, Jackie attempted something audacious, a flying knee strike, borrowed from Muay Thai itself, but executed with the acrobatic flair that had made him famous. It was beautiful, it was bold, and it almost worked. Niran slipped it by millimeters, and as Jackie landed off balance, she caught him with an elbow strike that split his eyebrow open. Blood poured down his face, into his eye, affecting his vision. The referee called a brief timeout, allowing a cut man to work on Jackie's eye. Presert looked at his fighter with deep concern. "You can stop," he said in English. "You have nothing to prove." Jackie wiped blood from his face and shook his head. "One more round," he said. "I finish what I start." The fifth and final round would become the subject of endless analysis and debate among those who witnessed it. Both fighters were damaged, exhausted, operating on pure determination, but they fought like it was the first round, not the last. The crowd was on its feet, screaming with every exchange. Jackie seemed to find a second wind, his combinations becoming sharper, his defense tighter. He was reading Niran's patterns now, slipping her kicks, countering with precise punches. But Niran was equally adaptive, switching stances, changing her angles, refusing to let Jackie settle into any rhythm. With 1 minute remaining, she caught him with a perfect roundhouse kick to the head that sent his mouthguard flying into the front row. Jackie staggered, but didn't fall. In the final 30 seconds, both fighters abandoned strategy entirely and simply traded strikes in the center of the ring. Punch for kick, elbow for knee, pure warrior spirit against pure warrior spirit. The bell rang, and they were still standing, still fighting, until the referee physically stepped between them to signal the end. The judges deliberated for nearly 10 minutes. In Muay Thai, scoring is based on effective striking, ring control, damage inflicted, and the use of traditional techniques. Jackie had shown incredible heart and had landed significant punches throughout the fight. Niran had controlled the pace, landed the more devastating strikes, and fought with technical perfection. When the decision was finally announced, it was what everyone in the arena had already sensed: a draw. Neither fighter had won. Neither had lost. But both had proven something that night. Jackie Chan and Niran Songkram met in the center of the ring. He bowed deeply in the traditional way gesture. His face battered and swollen, but his eyes clear. She returned the gesture with equal respect. No words were exchanged. None were needed. In the weeks that followed, Jackie returned to Hong Kong to continue his film career. The injuries from Bangkok required 2 weeks to heal properly. His ribs taped, his eyes stitched, his legs bruised in shades of purple and black that makeup artists struggled to hide during filming. He never spoke publicly about the match. When interviewers asked about his injuries, he simply said he had trained too hard. Niran Songkram continued to fight in Bangkok's underground circuit for another 3 years before retiring undefeated. She became a trainer, passing on her knowledge to a new generation of fighters, including several women who would go on to become champions in the emerging world of professional female Muay Thai. She never gave interviews about the Jackie Chan match. When asked, she would simply say, "I fought many fighters. They all taught me something." But those who were there that night, the trainers, the officials, the select members of Bangkok's fight community who had witnessed the impossible, they knew what they had seen. They had seen two warriors from completely different worlds meet on equal ground and push each other to their absolute limits. They had seen respect earned through blood and sweat and unbreakable will. Lumpinee Stadium has hosted thousands of fights since that night in 1982. Champions have risen and fallen within its ropes. Legends have been born under its lights, but ask any old-timer who was there on March 24, 1982, and they'll tell you they saw something that night that they've never seen before or since. They saw a movie star become a real fighter. They saw a hidden champion reveal herself to the world, if only for 15 minutes. And they saw a match that proved something fundamental about martial arts. It's not about winning or losing, it's about the test. It's about facing the unknown and refusing to back down. The unofficial scorecards from that night still exist in the private collections of 3 ringside judges. The scores are split almost evenly across all 5 rounds. Some rounds to Jackie, some to Niran, some too close to call. But there's a note written on one scorecard, in Thai, that captures the truth better than any numerical score could. Both fighters won tonight. The ring was honored. 30 years later, in 2012, a documentary filmmaker in Bangkok attempted to verify the story. He found Prasert, now in his 80s, still training fighters in the same gym. "Did it happen?" the filmmaker asked. The old trainer looked at him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "It happened," he said. "But some things are better left as stories than facts." He never elaborated. He never needed to. Because the truth is this: on March 24, 1982, in a private match that was never filmed, never officially recorded, and never acknowledged by either participant, Jackie Chan and Niran Songkram fought each other to a standstill. 2 warriors from different worlds, different disciplines, different philosophies of combat, proved that at the highest level, martial arts transcends style, transcends gender, transcends nationality. What remains is the story itself, passed down through Thailand's fight community, whispered in Hong Kong's stunt circles, discussed in quiet corners by those who know that sometimes the most important moments in martial arts history are the ones that were never meant to be witnessed by the world. Jackie Chan went on to become one of the most successful action stars in cinema history, performing stunts that would break most people's bodies and spirits. Niran Songkram trained champions who would carry Muay Thai into the modern era, where female fighters would finally receive the recognition they deserved. Neither ever fought each other again. Neither needed to. The question that remains, the question that still sparks debate among martial arts historians and fight fans, is simple but profound. What if there had been a winner that night? What if the judges had scored it differently? What if the match had continued past 5 rounds? But perhaps the real question is this: would a decisive victory have meant more than the draw? Or did the draw itself, 2 warriors meeting at the peak of their abilities and finding perfect balance, tell us something more important about what martial arts really means? The ring at Lumpinee Stadium has been replaced several times since 1982. The ropes have been changed, the canvas renewed, the lights upgraded. But the space where Jackie Chan and Niran Songkram stood toe-to-toe, trading strikes that echoed through the empty stadium, that space still holds the energy of that night. Some say if you visit Lumpinee late at night, when the stadium is dark and empty, you can still feel it, the presence of a match that transcended sport and became something closer to art. A match where East met East in a different way than anyone expected. Where cinema and combat found common ground. Where a man seeking truth and a woman defending her legacy discovered they were really seeking the same thing to test the limits of what they could become. That's the story. That's what happened on March 24, 1982. A match that was never recorded, never filmed, never officially sanctioned. But ask anyone who was there, and they'll tell you, it was more real than anything that ever made it onto film. Because sometimes the most important fights are the ones no one else sees. Sometimes the greatest victories are the ones where nobody loses, and sometimes, just sometimes, a draw is the most honest result 2 warriors can give each other. The legend of Bangkok, the night Jackie Chan met his equal, the match that never happened, except to everyone who was there. And Niran Songkram? She still lives in Bangkok, now in her 70s, running a small training gym in the same district where she once fought. She doesn't give interviews, she doesn't tell stories. But on the wall of her gym, barely visible among the photos of champions she's trained, there's a single photograph from March 1982, Two fighters in a ring, both battered, both standing, both bowing to each other with absolute respect. No caption, no explanation. Just the image itself, speaking a truth that words could never fully capture. That's the story of the match that changed everything and nothing. The night two warriors discovered that the greatest opponent is the one who makes you reach deeper than you ever thought possible. The night Bangkok's eternal warrior and Hong Kong's fearless performer proved that martial arts, at its highest expression, isn't about victory. It's about the willingness to step into the ring when the outcome is uncertain. It's about respect earned through shared combat. It's about understanding that sometimes the journey is the destination, and the fight itself is the prize. March 24, 1982. Lumpinee Boxing Stadium. It happened. And those who were there will never forget it.